My name is Scott McCauley, and this is Sparkplug, a proposed program for activating more Manitoba entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are important. They build companies, and they're the spark plug of economic growth. If you activate more entrepreneurs, you're going to get a lot more jobs out there. There is a difference in Detroit and Silicon Valley. You can build a more entrepreneurial community. Often you'll find someone who watches Dragon's Den and they want to be an entrepreneur, and I see these people all the time. They have the question, where do I go? Where do I start? What do I need to know? I need to know it right now. And I get them, and they're sent my way, and I just look at them and say, I have so much to teach you, and there's so many people needing so much to know. It's almost daunting. Is there a way to scale, to automate this process and to scale it? And that's what Sparkplug is. A lot of these entrepreneurs are in motion, and they need some business skills, and they need to acquire them in a timely fashion. You look at Avi Khan here, who's a local restaurateur, and he was a football player, and he started up a restaurant business, and he needs to know, he worked 11 hours a day, but he needs to know how to market, and he knows how to run a business, and he knows the restaurant business, but he's working 11 hours a day, so he needs this between 11 and 1 at night. There are a lot of barriers to activating as entrepreneurs. There's a certain percentage of the population, let's call them the 1%, who just don't actually become entrepreneurs. They'll figure it out. The thing they don't understand when they're talking to the civilians is this idea of just go do it and just jump. And there's a not everyone can be an entrepreneur, but there's a subset. Let's call them the 2 to 9% who have the passion. If they just get activated and put into a structured program, they could be entrepreneurs. What's holding them back? Well, there's some fear of failure, sure, debt, yeah, permits, legal documents, regulations, taxes, GST, CRA, how do you get employees, all stressors. But I think the biggest barrier is this stress of ambiguity, of lack of structure. Where do I start? Where do I go? What do I do? How do I do this? There are a lot of organizations that are there to support entrepreneurs and support starting entrepreneurial lifestyle. But there's a gap there. The academic world tends to be a little too theoretical, not enough about execution. Government, financial, all have good programming, but maybe it's not holistic. We're talking about day one execution. There are good programs. Futurepreneur has unlimited amounts of stuff on there that you can take a look at, and you can go there, check it out, and really neat stuff. Same with Entrepreneurship 101. They even have a structured program. But I talk to entrepreneurs and I ask them about this. They either don't know about it or they say it's just too much. They can get lost in it, there's a saying. And so we need a program that's local, that's holistic, it's active, and it's a structured program where there is a pathway going forward and there's accountability. Goals of Sparkplug: validate that secret sauce that first 6 months, get revenue positive, get a validated business plan proof, inject more entrepreneurs into that beginning of the entrepreneurial stack where they can get into the system, start the first 6 months where they get ready to go, figure out everything, and so get to that starting point, get into the system. It's a structured program, but not paint by numbers. In summary, a series of open online videos. These are like 5-minute videos, multiple series of them, delivered by in-the-trench entrepreneurs and supporters. They're timely, so you can take them anytime by definition of being online videos. There's a Manitoba focus. Connected each and they're gamified and quested, so someone would own a quest, a mentor of some, and if you do go through the videos, you're rewarded at the end. But if you do certain actions, you get access 15 minutes to a mentor to reflect back on your learning in relation to your own business. Second is affiliate groups, 3 to 7 person like-minded groups. For example, you could have a small group of young tech entrepreneurs who are doing open democracy or open government startups, or you could have ed tech group from technology. You could have a group of First Nation Northern startups that are doing startups in remote reserves, and we'll talk about that in a bit. And it's also a partnership across Manitoba's entrepreneurial ecosystem. So getting all our entrepreneurial service providers rowing together in the same direction, and everyone will be stronger and have better metrics because of it. Well, let's take here's the process flow. On the left of the screen, you'll see the prospects, and these are all people all organizations that someone might come up and knock on doors saying, I want to be an entrepreneur. Are all of them really good at saying, okay, this is the first thing you do? Instead, they kind of outsource that first 6 months to Sparkplug, where they say, go enroll on the website, be capture that person's basics. We have a case officer who triages them, qualifies them, deliver a customized menu of coursework. We have an initial workshop. We give them down the basics. We go into a coursework we'll talk about, and it will be customized by industry and demographic. We're going to put them in affiliate groups where they, we'll talk about in a bit, where they work together in groups, kind of plant your flag, positive peer pressure, favors amongst each other. We want to get them in motion. Let's get cash flow going, freelancing with jobs, e-commerce at the same time. We also want to do a moonshot. We'll talk about that. And then on the right, we get them into our ecosystem more fully. Let's break this down. Let's take a look at the prospects. There's a lot of great institutions that are helping out entrepreneurs. Some of the clustering we see is the Manitoba Small Business Connections Group, Innovation Alley, the Smart Park out at U of M. And I think there's been a change. In the old days, or not too long ago, a lot of them were siloing and fractured, just like every entrepreneurship community across Canada and maybe North America. Now we're getting a little more coordinated, a little more inclusive, and we're ready to row together. The partners could take on certain functions of the Sparkplug ecosystem, such as the triaging or providing mentoring. There's also a better way to teach entrepreneurship. Lean Startup is fantastic. I'm going to talk about small clips in a bit. Our first generation Lean Startup was defined the problem and introduced the jargon, and often it came out of Silicon Valley academics. But a second wave's come along. These are entrepreneur authors who've codified the process, and they really talk about getting a validated business model instead of a business plan. The Lean Startup Toolkit is fantastic. It can be taught. It crosses beyond, goes beyond tech entrepreneurship. It can be used everywhere. It works. Coursework we're looking at, talking about 5-minute online videos. 5 minutes is important from a pedagogy standpoint. You go over that. I've seen it myself. You tend to see skipping and lack of focus. You want to get gamified in here, questing based. You have badging. You can have core and elective videos, so some basic ones, but you also have ones if you're a fisherman, a fisher in certain, let's say in Great Lake, Lake Winnipeg, there might be a specific video series for you. They're active. We learn by doing, and when we want to be learning something, but also doing something about it. And if you do that action, you get access to those mentors for that reflection back. And this is ambition-driven learning, where you're trying to teach a young person cost accounting who's sitting in the back classroom. You're just going to lose them. But if you get that person who's builds a product and has to price something out and actually cares about cost accounting, all of a sudden they have the ambition to learn, and that's when you want to teach them. And finally, it's a Manitoba focus. Also, where a lot of the entrepreneurship curriculum fails is this idea of hunting versus farming. All too often, our entrepreneurship education teaches farming techniques. These are, structured businesses that are already in place that know where they're going, and stuff like 4Ps and SWOT. And you hear young people talk about it's all just textbook. Instead, we need business skills that have to market focus and actionable, not just textbook skills. Hunting is about personal selling, channels to market, stuff like that. Concise instruction from experts in the trenches is a little ahead of them. Another big thread is the cliff jump. Entrepreneurship is about jumping off a cliff, and if you have and I've seen it so many times where we build these big business plans that require $200,000. Have your parents sign off their house, and it's like taken to the front of a cliff and say jump, and you see this you see an entrepreneurship vertigo, I call it, where they just woo, no, I'm going to go back to the cubicle world. Instead, you never want to put a high cliff. You want to have like a series of small cliffs that are easy to jump, and if they do enough small cliffs, it's the equivalent of that big high cliff over a long period of time. Right off the hop, we wanted to get these guys revenue positive. I call them craft dinner entrepreneurs. You need them to teach them how to start a business, how to run a business, and that can be as simple as getting revenue positive, selling something at a farmer's market, e-commerce, freelancing, trade shows, stuff like that, where they're just getting revenue positive. They're making a kill, and they learn how to deal with cash flow, how to deal with the taxes and GST and all the other stuff. At the same time, we want them to have the ambition for a moonshot, a scalable idea, and the hope is that a lot of people talk about having, failing multiple times before you really hit it. And you want to build that in from the beginning, where you have 3, 4, 5, as against the system. They'll find them, the big scalable ideas, and they have many of them going. Whatever's playing at the time looks most promising. They jump on that line, and if you see these moonshots as you're playing different lines off the back of a boat, whatever's hitting you play. If it doesn't work for a while, then you go to another one. And the hope is one of these will be scalable. And it's all about operationalizing it, getting execution, getting traction, and getting in community. Affiliate groups help out in there. And this is also known as peer networking groups. This idea of plant your flag. Say what you're going to do in front of your peers. And something about that positive peer pressure actually makes you execute on it. You have these weekly 3 and 3s, where it might be monthly, where you say 3 things you did last week and 3 things you're going to do next week. And something about saying it in front of people who are your peers and in your industry encourages actual execution. Also, amongst that group, you have this idea of 5-minute favors, or karma, or mensch, cooperate locally, complete globally. We're helping each other out. It's entrepreneurship as a team sport. You could see this as like a young president's organization for startups, and you would focus them on industry or demographic groupings. And also, it's important to entrepreneurs need to celebrate their milestones. The first sale, business name registration, finishing the quest on the video quest, getting incorporated, certain level of revenue growth. So going back, as we see prospects, they go in the system, they do coursework, they get in the groups, they start making cash flow, and then on the right-hand side, we get them into the ecosystem. Where they join one of our accelerator, incubator, co-work space. They can bring a validated business plan to the entrepreneurs and the LRCCs and MEDFs and all WECs to get financing. We get them into the contests and forums such as Pitch Day, Innovate Manitoba. That could lead to equity financing. There are startup packages that are starting to emerge that we can focus into, so legal, accounting, insurance, and also there's specific demographic programs where you're a certain demographic. There's special ones in that. You can have coursework that flows into showing how that works, and even understanding the landscape of that system in government and programming. And so the point here is that 1% can figure it out for themselves. We need to activate that 2 to 9% that could be activated if you put them through a structured program. And we want to build serial entrepreneurs that will build many businesses over the years. What's changed? I think our understanding of how to activate entrepreneurs is grown. Lean startup theory, small cliffs, the entrepreneurship ecosystem rolling together, craft dinner, multiple moonshots. There's better pedagogy for doing entrepreneurship. Online videos, ambition-driven learning, gamification, questing reward, mentorship, affiliate groups. And the goal is here is to get the entrepreneurs further along as quick as possible. Something that would take a year or two for your average entrepreneur. If we can condense that into months, we can get them further along faster. So right now, call to action: get the idea in motion, learn, continue. I've talked to a lot of the entrepreneurship service providers, and I like the idea. We need to get the incentives right and the metrics aligned, and let's keep the elbows down and let's have fun.